How you doing? I may end up continuing my podcast, the Red Conrad Show, via vlog instead, because I'm having certain issues right now with my podcast hosting platform. I might gotta look for a new platform to record and upload my podcast. So I might just continue doing it via vlog, which would also make it a lot easier to share it across different platforms like Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, etc., and so on. But anyways, that being said, for those of you who have been following my show all along, if you haven't been, go to show.redconrad.com, go back a few episodes and listen coming up to the current, and get caught up on all the nonsense that's been happening to me the past couple of years. As the show title states, the show is about me, about my life. I generally talk about, different situations I'm going through, or the situations different situations that I've been through, and how I handled it as someone who suffers from a cocktail of mental disabilities. Back when I was 25, when I was 16, I was diagnosed with bipolar. When I was 25, I was re-diagnosed with bipolar, but my doctor added on dysthymia, general anxiety disorder, PTSD, and borderline personality disorder. So I have a cocktail of very severe depressive disorders and anxiety disorders. Main purpose of it is, more or less, to give others, insight into how people with my disorders, how we view things, how we see things, and to other people like me to realize that they're not alone. That there are others out there that suffer with similar disorders, similar ways of thinking, similar ways of viewing things. And because the disorders are also on a scale, so to speak, or a spectrum, might be a better way of saying it. Somebody, no two people will view a certain situation the same way. So maybe if somebody's having difficulties with a situation that I'm currently in and getting out of, or already been through, how I handled it might be different than how that person could be handling it. And now they'll have another viewpoint or another option of how to handle a certain situation. Anyways, all that being said, those of you who've been following along with the show, you're already up to date. Everybody else, you can get up to date at show.redconrad.com. Listen to the past couple of episodes, get caught up. But I've been going through some shit. Life started looking like it was going good, like real super good for me. I had a couple different paths for my life I could have chosen to go down. I was preparing for one that I was more or less forced into, but rather than look at it as a bad thing, or allow my being in that certain situation to bring me down again, because as those of you who know, I lost my wife, a little over 3 years ago to cancer, and following that, I fell into deep, deep, dark depression that just absolutely destroyed my fucking life. And my business all but crashed and burned. I'm currently trying to salvage it and rebuild it, and it's going. I'll get it back to its former glory and beyond. But in the process, a couple of different things happened to me. Like, again, I'm not going to go over it again here. If you want to know what happened to me, go to show.redconrad.com. Go a few episodes back, and then follow it in order coming up to the current. And everything that I've been through the past couple of years. But the last situation I was just in, I was ready to embrace it, take on a certain lifestyle, set up work, going up and down the East Coast. As I got into New York, I was planning on visiting my family, and then follow the work back down south again, and just keep on going up and down, the coast. Unfortunately for that plan, but fortunately for me, something else came along, a little bit better, a little bit more stable, but it's come with its own challenges that I now have to figure out a game plan to figure out how I'm going to get out of this current challenge and into better places. But the situation I'm in now is a plus because it's giving me a place to stay. It's giving me a job on the side of my business, potential co-ownership of the other business that I'm currently working with on the side of my business. And me and that guy are coming up with a whole bunch of different ideas to merge our businesses. They're going to stay independent of each other, but kind of like refer each other customers. You know what I mean? Coming up with other types of business ideas, and then possibly converting one of the rooms into an office so that I can do my podcast. We can do a radio show together. All kinds of cool things. So from that aspect, and from having a good friend, and from a financial standpoint, from a point of a mental standpoint, I'm a lot calmer. I'm a lot happier. I'm getting my business is already it's based on how this month started. All right, this month will be one of the best months I've had with my business in the past 3 years, and it'll be roughly already half the size of what it was before I crashed it. So being where I'm at now has a lot more pros to the cons. One of the cons is we're not allowed to have our dogs or where we're at. So I gotta, let one of my friends take care of my dog for me until we can find someplace else that's pet friendly, or try to talk to the landlord and get him to okay my dog. But we'll see about that. And there's a couple other minor challenges that are coming along with it. I pissed off the post office because I changed my address 3 times in less than a year. Stupid shit like that. But yeah, so anyways, those of you who've been following my podcast all the way up until now, and into the transition of it going from strictly audio through my podcast platform to now it's a vlog, my situation has changed for the better. It has signs of continuing to go better. And I'm going to thank God for it because, as one of my brothers, a friend that I view as a brother, pointed out to me since my wife passed, I've fallen off my path with God. Okay, because as a lot of you who've been following my show know, back in 2010 I got my ordination, and then in 2011 I started my own ministry. So I was very spiritual. I was very devout to Christ. But through my depression of losing my wife, I fell off. I got very depressed. I got very angry. And I just let everything around me crash. My whole life just crashed. I've been getting that back. I've been praying more like I used to do, as often as I used to do. Getting that relationship I have with God back. I do feel that God is actually answering me in ways that He used to answer me, and one of those ways was actually this other business partner that I have that offered me the job with them, and then it became a business partnership, as well as a roof over my head. And us two working together, the sky's the fucking limit. I believe God put him in my path, for both of us to help each other out with different things that the two of us are struggling with. And I believe that God is, now that I got my relationship with Him back, that He's responsible for in a matter of a month and a half, really, of pushing hard on my business, getting back to the marketing level I used to market it, contacting some old customers that I'm already halfway back to the size my business once was, which is, or projected to be. I haven't finished the month yet, but the way this month is looking, I'm going to close the month already half the size that my business was before everything went downhill. Which is absolutely amazing. Point being, shit happens in life. Shit happens in life. Yeah, some things like losing a significant other, losing a family member, losing a close friend, it hurts. But don't let your depression devour you. And don't blame God. If you're faithful, don't blame God for it, because God didn't do it. God wasn't responsible for that. See, the thing with my wife is, which I was angry for a while about it, I did question God for a while why He took her from me. But the thing is, she had cancer. She fell into coma during one of her cancer treatments. And I know she was in pain, okay? And and she had a DNR. And the doctor called me and told me that to bring her back, they'd have to break her ribs. And if they were able to bring her back, she'd now have the pain from the cancer as well as the pain of the broken ribs. So ultimately, I honored the DNR. It was her wishes. I honored them. God didn't do that. At least now up in heaven, she's pain-free. And I know that someday, when it's my time, I'll be able to see her again. But that goes with anything in life, no matter what you're dealing with. I mean, most of you who have been following my show all along know the situation that I was just in a couple of short weeks ago. And how bad I was, and the lifestyle I was preparing to embrace, the type of work that I was planning on doing. And I was ready to go, all into it, because I needed a way of getting an income coming in. But since then, I got my commercial insurance reinstated. My vehicle is legal again. All that jazz I was worried about is all taken care of. All my legal issues are all taken care of. And like I said, within the first couple of days of this month, I'm already projected for my business to close this month out already at half the size it was before I came close to crashing it 3 years ago. Which is fucking hella awesome. And then this other business that I'm working for, on my way of becoming a partner, the amount of income I'll be generating through that business is unbelievable. And like I said, the two of us working together, the fucking sky is the limit. And I thank God for all of that. And I do believe, by the way, it's filtered cigars. I know some of you might be thinking, because of the color of the paper, it's filtered cigars. But anyways, the two of us working together, the sky's the limit. I thank God for all of that. And I do believe that had I prayed earlier on for a solution to my problems, me and him might have crossed paths earlier on. And rather than crashing my business and him crashing his business, perhaps both of us could have helped each other out a lot sooner. And instead of crashing my business, I could have salvaged it a lot sooner and already been bigger than what I was. But unfortunately, I didn't do that. For whatever reason, God didn't intend for us to cross our paths until we did. We had to have experienced different things the two of us experienced up until we finally crossed paths. I do believe everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Right down to the situation I was in up until a couple of weeks ago. I had to go through that for a reason, because God wanted me to see that situation and what people in that situation are dealing with and going through. Now, those of you who've been following my show all along the past couple of years, you can agree with me that God has put me through a lot. I've been through a lot of different tough situations. I've seen, well, just about every version of society and subset of society that one can possibly be stuck in. So, if you're asking, like I do sometimes, why God would want somebody to go through that much tough shit, well, you don't know what God has planned for you. I believe God's plans for me is to help people and to use the knowledge I'm gaining through the different situations I'm being put through to help people. And then once my business is built back to where it was at and bigger, I will have the funds necessary and the resources necessary to help people across these different subsets of society. And because I've been there and lived through it myself at different points in my life, I know how to find them, I know how to talk to them, and I know what channels I need to go through in order to help them. If I hadn't been through those situations myself, if I hadn't lived it myself, even if I wanted to help people in those situations, one, they might not talk to me because I wouldn't be able to relate. Two, I wouldn't know what channels to go through to find them or to help them. Well, I can relate. I have different channels that I can find these people, and different channels and resources that I can go through to help these people. So, yeah, at the time I was going through to these situations, I was struggling. I was upset. I was angry. I didn't understand why I was in that spot. But now, in hindsight, I'm thankful for it, because my life's improving, and I've seen a different subset of society that, from a different perspective. And now I have my own stories that I can, when I talk to them, I can relate. So then they might be more open to my help. And I have now knowledge of different channels and different resources I can go through to help these people across different, areas of society. So I guess what I'm trying to get at here, aside from updating everybody on, where I'm at, what's happening to my podcast, and all that jazz, is whatever you're dealing with in life, whatever stage of life you're in, regardless how young or old, whatever you're dealing with, you're going through it for a reason. It could be a personal reason that you put yourself there because of, or it could be that, when you get out of that situation, your purpose is to take your experiences, through and out of that particular situation to help other people in that situation. That could be your purpose. Ultimately, you don't know that until you finally get out of it. But there's a purpose for everything. And there's a reason for everything. And there are brighter days ahead of everybody. Regardless of what you're dealing with, how long you've been dealing with it, there's brighter days ahead. You just got to stay true to yourself. You got to stay faithful. And keep pushing forward. And as long as you keep your mind open, you stay true to yourself, you stay faithful, and you keep on pushing forward, stay focused on what's in front of you, stop looking in the rearview mirror. What's behind you is behind you. Keep pushing forward. As long as you do that, you'll eventually get out of the situation that you're in. You'll eventually get to greener pastures. And once you're there, now you have all that experience and all that knowledge you'll be able to help other people that might be stuck in that situation. You'll have your own resources or your own knowledge that others might not have, and then you can pass on to them to help them get out of that situation. And on that note, I appreciate y'all for watching. If you're new to my show, go to show.redconner.com, catch up on all the old stuff, so you can get a better feel of who I am, different life experiences I've had and been through, and whatever platform you're currently watching on, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and I will see you in the next one. God bless.